Welcome to the Becoming a ManifeSTAR podcast. I am your host, Brie Garnica, and I am an intuitive entrepreneur, quantum manifesting practitioner, and energy coach. Nothing, and I mean nothing, lights my soul on fire like helping female entrepreneurs take simple actions to live in radical alignment of their soul's purpose and make it a business. I teach women the skills to master their mindset, find their energetic flow, and create the structure to experience wild success and abundance without the ick factor of burnout or hustle culture. In this podcast, we will cover all things regarding mindfulness, quantum physics, neuroscience, and a little bit of the woo. Here, you'll find guest experts and easy step-by-step actionable strategies you can start implementing into your business today to become that master manifest star that I know you are. This is Becoming a ManifeSTAR podcast, and let's get started. Hello, everybody. Anyone who has gone through a creative entrepreneurial journey or just decided to take some radical action in their life, you guys know what it's like to look around at what, like at some point in your life, kind of sit there, look around and realize, wow, it's really wild that I'm here. Anyway, with that said, hi, you guys. Welcome to the first episode of Becoming a ManifeSTAR podcast with Brie. That's me. In this episode, I wanted to give you a bit of an introduction of myself, who I am, how Golden Bee got started, kind of what I am hoping to achieve, what I'm planning on achieving here with these podcasts, what you can expect to find in upcoming episodes, that whole shazam. So, fun fact about me is that back in 2019, I was not actually an energy coach. No, sirree. I was in sales and fundraising. I went through all of high school and into college as a theater major in arts administration. I went through that whole education process really just to figure out that at the end of the day, one of my top skill sets is being able to make genuine connections with people and being able to help them problem solve their needs, which somehow ended up becoming sales. And then I got this notion, like, I really wanted to change the world. So I got into nonprofit fundraising, and I was great at it, you guys. I was always knocking out my goals, going above and beyond. You got to set 3 client meetings. I set 10. You want me to raise $10,000? I raised 300,000. Like I loved, at the time, I loved my job because I loved the sense of accomplishment that it gave me. But it was in 2019, 2020, when I realized that I actually did not like being in fundraising anymore. Long story short, I actually went on a trip in 2020 with 2 of my best girlfriends, and we went to the East Coast, and we just called it the quarantine quest. And we stayed at Airbnbs and just kind of kept to ourselves and decided we're working remote, we're going to do it in fun places, and we're going to do it together, because when else in our lives are we going to be able to do that? So we did. We started up in Greensburg, North Carolina, which is now only an hour away from where I live. Started in Greensburg, North Carolina, went down all the way to St. Simons in Georgia, went back up to Tennessee, and then went back to Kansas City. And it was on that trip where I realized how much I really loved having the freedom and the autonomy to be able to just pick up my life and go. And it broke so many limiting beliefs that I had around what my life could look like. And then I got really sad because I realized I couldn't do this as a fundraiser. There is no such thing as like a fully remote fundraiser. And maybe there is now because, COVID kind of changed all of our perceptions of what is possible and real. But at the time, it made me begin to really wonder if I actually wanted to continue fundraising. And then per the universe, as usual, the universe heard that, took it, and like ran with it. And when I say ran with it, so I got let go from my nonprofit job at the time, which was devastating to me because I wanted to be successful there so badly, but it just wasn't a fit in the culture. The job itself was not a fit for me. It was, really trying to get me to focus in on all the parts of me that aren't, they're good, but they're not great. They don't come to me naturally. And all the parts that I'm great at with like meeting people and making those relations, those were getting kind of shut down. So it wasn't a great place to work. But regardless, getting let go was really hard. And then to add salt to the wound, I got hit with a pretty intense physical health scare. And I will not go into the details of it because that's pretty private. But what I will say is I was in chronic pain 24/7 for about a month and a half. I could not move. I lost my mobility. I was confined to my bed. I had to have my partner help feed me, help. I could not move on my own. And it was that on top of losing my job. Like, what am I going to do? How am I going to interview for a job when I'm in this much pain? How am I going to get insurance? Like, how am I going to make money? Like, what on earth is happening? So while my gut reaction when I got let go was to go start interviewing for more fundraising jobs, the universe literally not only took away my job, it also really sat me on my ass. And it was like, no, I want you, like, it put baby in a corner. It was like, I want you to sit and think and be still enough to hear what your soul really wants right now. And honestly, it took me reading the book, You Are a Badass, which I believe is by Jen Sincero. That it took me reading that book. Like I had that book on my shelf for a very long time. And it wasn't until my husband was like, hey, you're in a serious, like, I know a lot of things are looking bad right now, but your attitude, your mindset, like this is not the Brie I know. And I really want to, encourage you to find the support that you need to navigate through this. And so I picked up that book, You Are a Badass, and instead of it's a pretty small book. Like you definitely could read it in a week or so. But I decided I was going to turn this into like a workshop type thing. So I read a chapter a day, mainly so that I could really hear and listen and not only just hear the words that I was reading, hear the message, but really start thinking about the things I could do to implement it into my life. And it was that book that made me realize that I had been running a mile a minute since the day I got put into middle school. By doing well with my own achievements, I was trying to live up to the version of Brie that everyone else was projecting upon me and not actually living my life for myself, which at what was that, like 25, was a pretty radical, terrifying thought to start grappling with. That up until then, I was not living my life for anyone not for myself. It was living for my parents. I was living for my teachers. I was doing everything that people assumed would be successful and that obviously I would want. So that was the first part, was just getting to the point where I was forced to slow down enough to start questioning what was around me and what was genuinely, authentically mine versus what was a projection being pushed upon me from other places, well-meaning, very much coming from a loving place, but still projections from others. And then the second part was the next most logical question. What do I want? And it was hard for me to articulate that at the time. But now I can say what I want is to break the hustle culture system and help other female entrepreneurs step into their power while doing it. I want to radically shift how we define success. So, like, what does that word actually mean? And it's different for every person. I want to create a community of female entrepreneurs. We don't need any more Amazons. We don't need any more Targets. What we need are women who are so grounded in their own intuition. They have such a strong self-trust that they are able to build businesses that are no longer side hustles. Side hustles are canceled. We don't do side hustles anymore. What we do are create businesses that support our ideal lifestyle, that they become an extension of us. They don't lead to burnout. They lead to fulfillment and joy and excitement, more opportunities, more abundance of time, more autonomy, freedom. Those are the things. Following your it factor, by following your magic, by trusting in your magic, you're able to leverage your masculine and feminine energies to create this type of reality. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to create a business that did all of that. And the best way I could sum it up was, hi, I'm Brie, and I'm an energy coach. So that's what I did. So I started my business back in 2020, following that little inspiration, even though I couldn't, that little niggle of, that little spark of joy, without fully having like a fleshed out plan. And I didn't have a 5-year business plan. Oh my gosh, my business professors in school would keel over knowing how I actually started Golden Bee. But regardless, that's a whole other story. It's been a wild ride. Anyone who is building a business out of their heart center, building a business that supports a lifestyle as an extension of them, will quickly realize that your inner growth is directly tied to the success your business is able to experience and what you are able to manifest into your life. Think about it this way. Your energetic capacity to hold abundance is like a dinner table. And when you have things on that dinner table that no longer serve you, but you're hanging on to really hard, such as a job that's out of alignment, or hanging on to those couple of friends who don't necessarily fill up your cup, but they've been friends with you for so long that you kind of keep them on the roster. As you go through life, you kind of start accumulating things. If you are not intentional at looking at this table and deciding that something has got to go, then all these things are taking up space on that table, and you're not able to put any new opportunities, any new level of abundance on the table. The table is at max. So part of becoming an entrepreneur, part of creating this business, I had to take a look at this table and be like, all right, what has got to go? And one of the first things that went was my identity as a fundraiser and nonprofits. I'm no longer a fundraiser. I no longer am nonprofits. Which was hard because I had people asking me like, oh, do you want to apply for this job? Or, oh, did you hear about this opportunity? Do you want to volunteer here? And I had to say no, even though part of my body was like, it's an easy yes, it's stability, it's security. I said no, because that would keep that fundraising label identity on my table. And we're pushing that out because we're integrating this new identity of I'm an energy coach. Another thing I had to look at was, a lot of my limiting beliefs, especially around making money and the story that doing hard work meant to my identity as a person. I thought and I believed for a long time that if something wasn't working, it's just because I wasn't working hard enough. So the answer to that was work harder and make that thing bend to your will if you have to. And what I realized, especially as an entrepreneur, was that that's actually not true. If you are trying to make something work and you are being met with resistance, force is not actually the answer. It's time to reevaluate and reflect and see, why am I meeting so much resistance? Is it because I'm lacking a skill or knowledge or just information? Is it because this actually is not meant for me? This is not the path that I'm meant to be taking? Is it because this just isn't the right time? Like there's a variety of factors, but none of them are because I'm not working hard enough and hence not a good enough person. None of it was that. So being able to unpack that mindset, that belief, and adopt a new belief of not only just like work smarter, not harder, but also money does not have to come to me because of the time and hard work exchange. Like money can flow to me at any point, regardless of how much time or effort I'm putting in. I don't have to create a business where I'm directly trading my time for money. I can create a business where my value is seen and the value that I bring to people gets exchanged for money. Because of those shifts, because of being able to take a look at that table and move some things off, the opportunities I've been able to usher in and manifest, like, I'm a published author. I have 2 Amazon journals that are doing really well and have been really successful. I've been able to speak at a human development conference in St. Louis about the importance of self-aware leadership in the workplace. Wild. I would have thought that would have taken me 5 years to complete, and I did it on year 2. Been able to meet so many incredible people. It's crazy, and it's only going up from here. And that's something, sometimes I do get really hard on myself. I have really big grand aspirations, really big dreams, and I see Golden Bee going so far. And sometimes I get frustrated at myself because I don't feel like I'm moving fast enough. At the same time, there is no actual timeline. I'm the one who's making that up. And when I release my expectations around the outcome, incredible things are able to come through much faster than if I had full control of the wheel. So truly, Golden Bee has created this opportunity to understand the art of manifesting, of co-creating with the universe, not just in the woo, let me make a vision board and say my affirmations. Those do have places and they are backed by neuroscience. Those are important, but also in the sense of, understanding my subconscious, understanding how 80% of the behaviors I have come from my subconscious brain between the years 0 through 7. Taking a look at those, being able to understand how quantum physics does actually, have our thoughts create the realities that we see, how I speak about my business, how I see myself, how I show up. The success of a business all stems from my inner landscape. And the more I invest in myself, the more I dedicate time to discovering my own energy, how I flow, what gets me excited, my passions, the more I'm able to understand my own manifest and rest cycles and live my life in alignment with that practice, the more incredible things that have happened in this business and has given me success, not just financially, but also success in time, the autonomy to live my life how I want, and the abundance of freedom. Yeah, so that's how Golden Bee got started. That is my why, because I want to share, I want to show, I want to coach other women on how to create businesses that support their energy and support their lifestyle, because it does not have to be this hard. It does not have to be this hard, ladies. If you are not using any kind of manifestation practice in your business right now, and if you are not providing and opening up some space for co-creation from the universe, you are working harder. If you don't understand your own manifest rest cycles, you are working harder. And it does not have to be this hard, I promise you. So with that said, hi, welcome to becoming a ManifeSTAR. I'm so excited to have you guys along this journey. Feel free to keep listening. I have a couple other episodes coming up here soon. And let's get through this journey together. So thanks, y'all. Thank you for joining in on this episode of Becoming a ManifeSTAR podcast with me, Coach Bree. I hope that our discussion has inspired you to tap into your own power of manifestation and use it to achieve your wildest dreams. Don't forget to like, follow, and leave a review of this podcast. Also, feel free to drop any ideas for future podcasts by commenting on my most recent Instagram post. Remember, you have the ability to create your own reality, so trust in your magic and good things are on their way.